Whew. Hey everyone, I'm Paul Cram. I do my own stunts, and I have to say that it sucks. And I want to share two stories from some film sets that that I worked on. I think it's important to mention before I dive into these that these were pre my being a member of SAG-AFTRA, the union. So these were non-union projects that I worked on. Um, and in addition to that, I don't actually blame the other actors for, these stunts that went awry per se. And I'm going to dive into a little bit more of that after I tell these stories. But and I am going to name names, and I'm going to name the projects. Um, Hopefully nobody cares too much about that. But I do think it's a good reference point. Um, the first project that I wanted to mention, it actually filmed in Iowa, and really um, right around Des Moines, Iowa, and we shot a movie called Indelible. Um, the other actor that I was working with in this scene specifically that I'm going to talk about is Charlie Mathis. He played the role of Donnie, the lead character in the film. Um, and he's I would say that he has probably, I think he's like 6'3", something like that. Stands at about 6'3", and he's fairly muscular. He's got probably 50 to 75 pounds on me. He's a bigger guy than I am. And I played the role of Ricky, sort of a meth addict, troubled young youth guy who gets involved with the wife of Donnie in the film. But the scene that took place where we had a lot of stunt work, myself and Charlie together, it's set in my character Ricky, his where he was living, which is in this warehouse space. And we had this whole choreographed fight sequence basically that we went through. I want to say there was no stunt choreographer on set. That it was basically myself and Charlie and the director, and we were walking through like, oh, we could do this, kind of. We were just figuring out choreography kind of as we went, and we walked through that a few times. What happened though is, as we were walking through, like my character of Ricky, I jump on Charlie's back and we kind of scuffle, and I wind up on the ground and Charlie winds up kind of straddling me, and he has a gun, and he basically takes that gun and fake pistol whips my face and all of this stuff. So it went really, really well through, kind of walking through and kind of coming up with that choreography. The problem happened though when the director called action. And oh my gosh, it's burned into my mind. Like, I remember looking at Charlie and seeing Charlie. It was almost, it wasn't like his eyes glazed over, but it was like, I was like, oh, I recognize this. It's where an actor loses themselves and they become the character. I was no longer interacting with Charlie. I was interacting with this crazed person. Like, he went there. And so, we start doing this scene. I jump on his bed, and I end up on the ground and he's on top of me. And what happened was he took the fake gun, and how he was supposed to fake pistol whip me is not what happened. He actually took the gun, which was real metal, and grabbed my head, and he started smashing my face for real. And that was very, very dangerous and very stupid on his part, of course. But where it just was infuriating to me as a performer was that nobody else realized what was happening. Nobody realized that Charlie was in this brain space where he was very, I'm going to call it method acting, where it's like he wasn't even aware of what he was doing. And the director and stuff, Rick, didn't realize that what was happening was occurring. And this is where I really am appreciative of having on set stunt coordinators, because a good stunt coordinator is going to identify that that's happening. They're going to keep me safe. They're going to keep everybody safe. All of that happened. The director called cut. They were like, that was amazing. And, I got up and like literally bolted to the other side of the room, kind of like a victim of domestic violence, because that basically is what happened. Like I literally was, smashed in the face by a gun by this man. Um, that's experience number one. And all in all, was I okay? Yes, I was. Could it have been a lot worse? Yes, it could. Am I being a baby about it? I don't know. You tell me. You have a guy climb on top of you that has a few 100 pounds on you and smash you in the face with a gun and get back to me. um, the second thing that I wanted to mention was there was a set that I was working on. I just got to get the name of it right because I always kill it. The name of the movie was called Candy Ojai, and it was a little indie project that shot in Minnesota. I played a clerk actually in the film, and it was a fairly quick part. I was a clerk in like a gas station. There was a couple of other actors in it. The one that I remember is John Cromwell. He's the son of oh my gosh, I'm gonna forget his first name. Anyway, it doesn't totally matter. But he's a lankier guy, kind of like me, but he's really tall, and he has really big feet. The reason I know this is because of the stunt that we did. Basically, the scene is that I'm the clerk in the gas station. These guys come in, give us all your money, blah 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 blah. And I'm that stupid clerk that fights back. I actually grab a baseball bat behind the counter, jump over, and I start, beating these guys up. They have a gun. I don't know. It was this big whole tussle thing, and the character that John was playing, he I think his character's name was Hermes. Is that I wound up on the ground and he's supposed to fake kick me in the head, which we did in the rehearsals, and it went just absolutely fine. Again, on this set, there was no stunt coordinator. There was nobody doing that. We were kind of walking through it and figuring it out on our own. And you probably can tell where this is going. They call action. I think we did it twice, which went fine. And then the third time, John, somehow I think he just miscalculated the distance between, I'm hoping he just miscalculated the distance. And he was wearing cowboy boots. And he literally kicked me in the face pretty much as hard as he could. I flew back and wound up, staring up at the ceiling on my back. Again, I just remember seeing stars and how it was not a good situation. I remember laying there and thinking like my whole face was kind of numb. And I remember taking my tongue and kind of feeling my teeth. And I was like, did I lose any teeth? And John was very apologetic, which, goes so far when you're laying back up and your face is kind of numb. It's like, I don't know that I really want to get into this right now. Again, though, like I just want to point out there was no stunt coordinator on set. And so since these stories happen, I have a really dear friend of mine, my friend Mary, and she has worked as a stunt performer for years, and she's amazing, and she's worked around the globe. And I've always picked her brain and asked her questions about stunts, and I've been that person, especially when I was non-union, where I would call her and I'd be like, oh my gosh, Mary, this is what they're asking me to do. Oh my gosh. And she's given me really, really helpful tips to, as much as she could from afar, be like, I really want you to be safe. Here's a few things that you could potentially do. You know what I mean? But those can only go so far, especially when somebody's not on set. if you can't tell, like one of the biggest things for myself with being safe and doing stunts now, being SAG-AFTRA and a member of the union, is that we don't do stunts. There is a stunt coordinator that's on set, someone that's there to watch out for the actors and make sure that, that one, that we're doing the stunt correctly so that I'm safe and everybody is safe. Um, and two, I think that there's a level that I think a lot of producers and directors that haven't maybe worked a ton don't realize, which is a stunt coordinator is going to make the violence and the stunts look as real as possible to the camera while keeping everyone safe. If you've ever worked with a camera before, I think sometimes you might realize it's like, oh gosh, this looks really fake, but it felt really real, those kind of a thing. So a stunt coordinator is so beneficial, not only to keep us safe, but also to make the stunts and sell them and make them look amazing. Um, yeah, this is kind of going in a different direction than I thought at first. So I'm very pro stunt coordinator having one on set. With SAG-AFTRA, I believe it's a requirement. At least every SAG-AFTRA set that I've worked on that had stunts, they always have had a stunt coordinator there with me. I'm hopeful at some point that I will have some stunt doubles to double me, because honestly, I don't care enough to do my own stunts. Like whenever I hear actors that are like, I do my own stunts, and they kind of are braggarty about it, I'm like, yeah, good for you. I don't care. Like, I honestly, if somebody else wants to take that hit for me, rock on. You do it. You take the hit. I'll do the acting. We're good. Um, Something too, like just from my conversations with people that work in stunts, I mean, they're physically training their bodies to do stunts, to take hits, to do all of these things. I am an actor. I am not training my body day in for 8 hours all the way through for taking punches, hits, and falling and doing all, like, that's not what I'm doing. Like, as an actor, that's just not what I'm doing. So yeah, something to munch on. I don't necessarily blame the actors for the stunts that have gone wrong. I think that there's a lot of things that come into play. I think like production in general, looking back specifically on those two film projects, the production, the director, the producers, really could have had a hand in making sure that things worked a little bit better for the safety of the us crew member or us cast members. Um, so I don't necessarily blame the other actors for those things occurring. I actually take a little bit of responsibility as well. I mean, as a performer, it's very important for me to not rely on my safety solely be resting with everybody else. Something that, again, I adore her, my friend Mary, has told me, and it has been so beneficial, is she's like, Paul, when you're asked to do a stunt and you're uncomfortable, you just tell or ask the stunt director or the stunt coordinator or whoever's telling you to do this stunt, tell them to do it first. And I can specifically recall there was a little low budget indie that I was working on, and the director handed me this huge, big ass candlestick, and he wanted me to take it and like hit the other actor across the back with it. And he was like, just don't hurt him, but make it look real. And I looked at him and I was like, are you insane? This is like a baseball bat. And he's like, yeah, it's fine. And I heard Mary's advice in the back, and I was like, you know what? And I handed it back to the director, and I was like, you show me how to do it. And the director, like the look on his face, he took it and he was like, and it was like he just it's like those wheels weren't turning in his brain, that he wasn't empathetic whatsoever to what he was actually asking me to do to this other performer. And the other performer was an idiot, I have to say. The other guy, he was just like, yeah, do it, just hit me across the back. And I was like, I know that I might look like a little guy, but me taking a baseball bat sized thing and clonking you on the back is going to hurt you. And he was just an idiot, stupid actor that was just like, no, do it, let's make this movie. And I was just like, you guys, this is so dumb. So handing this big candlestick to the director and being like, you show me how to do it. He stood there for a second, and it was like he was weighing it, and then he was like, you know what, let's figure something else out. And they adjusted the camera angle so that I could do this thing that made it look like I was hitting him, but I never touched, like they never came into contact. Oh, stuff like that just gets my goat. So yeah, I, I I know that I sound fairly preachy in some of this, and that's my point. Like, yeah, let's. There's no reason in my head that actors should be put in danger, or crew or anything like that for a movie. I know that there's those directors out there that I have specifically worked with where you disagree with me. Too bad, so sad. Like, get off your high horse and and actually look at what you're doing. Movies are fake. These I don't know. I'll probably need to take a few deep breaths because I've worked with some directors here and there where I think they think that they're God, and that's dangerous. I would much rather collaborate with a good director and really collaborate and create something that's amazing, and we all can be safe and enjoy the whole entire process, not have any of us end up harmed or hurt. So anyhow, I'm going to get off my soapbox. I'm curious if you guys listening, if anybody has some interesting stories or any comments, please leave them. Yeah. All right. Thanks, everyone.